We got a jam-packed show on tap for you today, but before we get into all that action, all the breakdown of Texans versus Bills this Sunday, help me get to 18,000 subscribers before our watch party this Sunday. Yes, we're going to have another watch party on Sunday, but I need 234 more subs to get to 18,000 subscribers. So help a brother out, go down and hit that subscribe button, and let's get into today's show. H-Town bringing in the Buffalo Bills for a Week 5 matchup. And according to the latest odds, Buffalo, they are 2-point favorites. Both teams come into the game 3-1. The over-under at 47 should be an exciting matchup. Some of the top storylines around your Houston Texans coming into this game, it's a Stefon Diggs revenge game. Obviously, the Bills traded him to the Houston Texans this offseason, not without many complications, a ton of drama between him, the organization, and the quarterback, Josh Allen. This is actually what Josh Allen had to say after they beat the Jags 2 weeks ago. He said, when guys get to buy in to this and really understand, like, I may not get the ball 4 or 5 times thrown to me a game, but the 1 or 2 times I do, I'm going to have opportunities to be in the end zone. It's a fun and wonderful thing when you have a bunch of guys that don't care about the stats and they don't even care about the touchdowns. And if you don't think that Josh Allen was directing that quote directly at Stefon Diggs, then you must be dumb, blind, or stupid, because I don't know what else to tell you other than Josh Allen was definitely throwing shade at Stefon Diggs, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how Stefon Diggs responds. He didn't get the exact outcome he wanted whenever he went back to Minnesota, but will he be able to get some revenge up against his former team in the Buffalo Bills? The second storyline, penalties. Texans, can they stop getting penalized? It was basically the whole story of the Week 4 matchup up against the Jaguars. The amount of penalties the Texans got, the amount of penalties this offensive line got. Will that be a problem this week? DeMeco told us last week that, hey, we're going to take care of it in-house. We got it covered. It didn't get covered. DeMeco, it didn't get covered. So what are you going to do? What is his team going to do going into Week 5 to make sure that trend doesn't continue to happen going into this week? And the last storyline around the Houston Texans that I really want to break down before we get into the injury reports, the brand new uniforms. The Texans alternates, those baby blues are back, baby. And the Texans, they're going to be rocking it this Sunday up against the Buffalo Bills. And, this next one, Producer Trace, this one's my favorite. C.J. Stroud. Rocking the H-Town. Yes.
Goodness, man.
Absolute heat. The Texans are going to be rocking their brand new uniforms. I'm super pumped. They got the secondary logo up there on the helmet as well. I need to know from you before we get into these injury reports, grade the new Texans jerseys. Go down in the comment section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So go down, give me an A, B, C, D, or F. What would be your grade for the new Texans jerseys? Now, going right into the injury report, let's start with the Houston Texans. Christian Harris, he was put on short-term IR to start the season. That means he has to miss the first 4 weeks. Well, it's Week 5, but DeMeco Ryans said he will not practice this week. So I think that means he's very doubtful to play on Sunday. If he's not going to practice at all, if he's not going to get any, actual action during the week, I doubt they just throw him into the water, throw him to the wolves on Sunday. Christian Harris, I expect him to be out once again this week. Somebody who might be able to return, though, is Joe Mixon. He is day-to-day. He was practicing before their Week 4 matchup up against the Jacksonville Jaguars was ruled out the day of. So hopefully he is good to go this week because this Texans running game absolutely needs Joe Mixon back. Another guy who will probably be back is Tank Dell. He's day-to-day with those bruised ribs. He was out up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but promising is that he looked pretty good on the sideline. He was, even on the bike, hanging out, getting a little workout in on the sideline. So I do expect Tank Dell to be able to play this week up against the Buffalo Bills. Some other guys who did not play up against the Jaguars, Jimmie Ward, which Kalen Bullock made maybe the play of the game up against Jacksonville. So even if Jimmie Ward is good to go, even if he, is good to go after this injury, do they still start Kalen Bullock? That's something to keep an eye out for. Dameon Pierce, the other running back on this roster that is injured. He did not play up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though reports were saying that he was on the track to return. So What does that mean? I'm not totally sure. But another name that you got to keep an eye out for in this running back room, because you have Joe Mixon, who has not been able to go. Cam Akers has been, I expected a little bit more from him after his amazing preseason. Agumbawale maybe has been your best running back without Joe Mixon. I think if Joe Mixon, Dameon Pierce, if they're not good to go, I would strongly consider playing Agumbawale equal, if not more snaps than Cam Akers in week 5. Now let's go across enemy lines. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills, where actually right before we filmed this, we had some major news around Von Miller. He is suspended for 4 games. That's including this weekend up against the Houston Texans. Their edge rusher has 3 sacks this year, but will not get to play up against the Houston Texans. That's a big win for the Texans offensive line, because Titus Howard, Laramie Tunsil, they're already struggling with the false starts. They're already struggling with the penalties. You don't need to have a really good pass rusher in Von Miller to add on top of that. He will not play up against the Houston Texans. Another guy who might not play is Taylor Rapp, their safety. He is currently in concussion protocol, which really means up in there. Nobody really knows when people are going to come back from concussion protocol. It just depends on how fast he progresses through all the stages that they have to go through in this protocol. So Taylor Rapp might not be able to play. Terrel Bernard, their linebacker, he was out last week. He is also listed as day-to-day. Came back to practice, but he's wearing that red non-contact jersey. So I'm not sure if he'll be good to go this Sunday, but he's a big part of that linebacking core. A reason why they did not bring back Tremaine Edmonds is this guy right here. So if he's not able to play, that's big for this Texans team. But I think he's on the track to return this Sunday. Same with Taron Johnson. Day-to-day, the defensive back. I'm not sure whether or not he'll be able to play or not, but somebody that I need to look at on the injury report throughout this week, because he is one of their better cornerbacks on the team. So if he's not good to go, maybe Tank Dell, maybe Stefon Diggs is able to feast on a depleted Buffalo Bills secondary. Now, Khalil Shakir was injured in that game up against the Baltimore Ravens, but he was able to come back. Now, he's listed day-to-day. He has an ankle injury, ankle sprain. He was able to come back, finish the game up against the Ravens. But obviously, you have, adrenaline. You're in the middle of the game. You're already taped up. So that's different. Once the game ends, once he, comes to the sideline, once the game's all over, the adrenaline's wore off. I wonder how much that ankle is actually hurting him right now. He's listed day-to-day, and if he's out, that is huge, because he is their number 1 receiver by far for the Buffalo Bills so far. If he's not good to go, that means this guy next, he's going to have a tough day. Josh Allen, he will play, but he is dealing with a lower back injury right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they let him sit a couple days, maybe just let him kind of relax a little bit during this week before this Texans game. But lower back injury. Josh Allen, that's not very good for this guy right here. He's predicated. His game is really, focused on being able to get outside the pocket, make plays happen with his feet. He's dealing with a little bit of injury issues. That might hurt him come Sunday. Now, coming up, I have my keys to victory up against the Buffalo Bills. How the Texans can dominate this weekend. Before we get into that, though, I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor, and that is Game Time, America's go-to ticketing app, and it is my go-to ticketing app as well. And also, an authorized ticket marketplace for the MLB. Where are my baseball fans at? The Astros, they lost Game 1 up against the Detroit Tigers, but that doesn't mean you can't go out and support them in Game 2 with our sponsor, Game Time. You can get deals on last-second tickets and even see your seat view before you buy the tickets. All-in prices show you what you pay without hidden fees or expenses. In Game Time, they have zone deals. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for an average savings of 18%. They also have this new thing called Game Time Picks. This feature basically filters out all the fluff and shows you the best, most incredible deals on this site. So you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets on the app. It just shows you the very best deals and the very best values. I'm a value guy. I love value shopping. I shop off the value menu. I love a little McChicken from time to time. So if you want to get the best deals on last-second tickets, Game Time is the place to go, and I have a great deal for you. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Now, coming up, we have the keys to victory up against the Buffalo Bills. But before I give you my keys to victory, I need to know your key to to victory. Let me know down in the comment section one thing the Texans have to do to win this game. Look inside your crystal ball. Say, hey, if the Texans do this one thing, they're going to win on Sunday. Let me know what that one thing is down in the comment section. My keys to victory go as follows. Number one, you got to get after Allen. I talked about it earlier that he is dealing with some lower back pain. If these guys right here can get after him, it could be a huge day for the Houston Texans. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr. so far, both guys have 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss to 4 tackles for loss for Danielle and Will. Both have over a sack and a half. The pressure rate, Will Anderson, he has been on fire this season. So you got to get after number 17. Allen's going to try to make plays with his legs, even if he is injured. But you got to get after him and maybe use some exotic blitzes. Maybe have a QB spy. I wouldn't mind maybe even a Jalen Petrie as a QB spy. I don't know. I kind of like it. But regardless, you got to put some pressure on Josh Allen in this game because he's one of the best quarterbacks in this league. Give him time. If you don't pressure him, he's going to be able to pick you apart pretty easily. Just as the Jacksonville Jaguars from a couple weeks ago. Number 2, you don't let James cook. You can't let him get going because he is one of the best players on this offense. Running the ball and receiving. He's number 3 in receiving for the Buffalo Bills this season. And obviously, he's their lead back. 50 carries, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns for James Cook. And the Texans up against the Jaguars, they were let a couple big plays go in the run game in the second half. They were letting Etienne get going a little bit. So you need Foley Fatukasi, you need Mario Edwards Jr., you need Tim Settle Jr., these guys to really step up and make a difference along the defensive line and do not let the Bills run down your throat come Sunday. Key to victory number 3, you got to take away the tight ends. I talked about how, James Cook, he's the number 3 receiving option on this team. The number 2, that would be Dalton Kincaid. You got to take away these receiving options for Josh Allen if you want to minimize the effect of this Bills offense. Because once they get James Cook going, once they get Dalton Kincaid going, then everything starts flowing for this Bills team. Now, obviously, Josh Allen likes to spread the ball around a ton, but his favorite targets are the tight ends and the running back. And Azeez Al-Shaair, he's a great cover linebacker. I do wonder if him against Dalton Kincaid one-on-one, if he's able to take that matchup on and if he's really able to limit the amount of plays Dalton Kincaid can make this Sunday, I'll be looking at number 0, Agent 0, to see if he can shut down the middle of the field for this Bills offense. Number 4, no penalties. Please, for the love of God, no penalties for this Texans offense. My heart can't take another 10-plus penalty game from this offense. The Bills are too good of a team to make mistakes and still win. You can do that up against shitty teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can make mistakes. You can have a ton of penalties and still win the game, which you barely won the game last week. But against the Bills, if you're going to continue to shoot yourself in the foot, they're going to take advantage and they will beat you down. So, offensive line, I'm looking directly at you right now. Stop it with the false starts. Stop it with the holding. If we're having a pass play, you don't need to run 5 yards downfield and have an ineligible man downfield. Can we please just play a clean football game for once? I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Please. Can we not have 10 penalties on offense this weekend? And lastly, I know I talked about it that I really didn't want to run as much up against the Jaguars, but against the Bills, I'm going blindside on you. Sandra Bullock, run the dang ball. According to our chat stats, the Bills, they are last in the league, number 32 in the NFL in allowing 5.7 yards per carry. Now, it is a little bit inflated because they did give up 270 rush yards to the Baltimore Ravens. But besides the fact before that, they weren't a great rushing defense. So, if Joe Mixon is in the game, if he's good to go, run the dang ball. Let these offensive linemen get off the ball. Kenyon Green, you haven't had a good last couple of weeks. Juice Scruggs, I'm looking at you two. Can we create some rushing lanes? Can we get some push off the ball? And can we get some run game going? So then you allow C.J. Stroud to get the play action pass. So we know what C.J. can do. He's one of the best in the NFL. So please run the dang ball. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up, if you want to continue the conversation, you can do so on X at Jeremy Chuggs, IG at Texans Today CS, or on TikTok at Jeremy Chuggs.